Does anyone hear me? We don't hear you. I don't hear you.
I hear you, Tanya.
I can't hear anyone. How are you, Maya?
That's because our mic is still muted.
Oh, okay. I
All right.
saw lips moving, but no sound.
Now you can go.
Okay, welcome to the July 15th, 2026 meeting of the Executive Committee. My name is Sandy McKee and I'm the chair of the committee. Tonight we are joined by District Manager Jesus Perez and the meeting is called to order at 6:32. As a reminder, New York State law requires you to have your camera on and your name with your name all through the meeting. So please, anybody who's joining remotely, make sure to do that. Members of the public who are attending virtually, you can raise any questions or comments that you have through the Q&A feature of Zoom. We don't have anyone here in person this evening. CB6 Second Vice Chair Justin Goldberg will take the minutes tonight. He's not here yet, but he is. Did he say he was coming?
I did not say.
Okay, he can use the Zoom to take the minutes, I guess. We will now take attendance by roll call. Jesus will conduct the roll call.
Okay. Tanya Arias,
Present.
Neil Barkley,
Present.
Stu Desser,
Here.
Maya Donahue,
Present.
Jason Pomowitz, I do not see. Justin Goldberg, I do not see. Rupal Pathad,
Present.
John Keller,
Present.
Anton Mallner,
Present.
Sandy McKee,
Present.
Alec is absent. Steve Perez,
Present.
Cat Valero, do not see. Jerry Weinstein.
Present.
Okay. With 8 members duly present, we have quorum. Just barely.
Okay. The agenda for tonight's meeting is reflected on the screen before you. We're going to make a small revision. Instead of review of the August committee agendas, we're going to discuss the Community Planning Fellow Program. If you object to adopting this revised agenda, please raise your hand. Okay. Seeing no objections, the agenda for tonight's meeting is adopted. The minutes for the June 17th meeting are still being drafted. Once they are ready for the committee's review, we will send them to you. Ground rules, please don't speak until granted the floor. Committee members who are here in person, if you have a question, please raise your hand and I will identify you so you can speak. Those on Zoom, please raise your hand through Zoom and I will identify you so you can speak. It is extremely important that only one person speak at a time so that members of the public watching at home can understand what is being said by each committee member. Chat function should not be used unless it's for committee, unless it's for technical difficulties that you're having. Tonight's agenda, chair's report. Justin, who is now with us, is going to represent us at Borough Board tomorrow. And there is going to be a resolution about restroom locations, which actually we haven't voted on it here, but Justin's going to be asked to vote on it at Borough Board. And what it is I think there's $4 million for temporary, or I forget what they call them.
Automatic public toilets.
Yes. And the locations are going to be determined by the DOT and the Parks Department. And the resolution is requesting that they come to the community board and let us discuss where we'd like them within our community. So that's the purpose of the resolution. So again, we don't actually have an internal resolution, but I think we would support it.
Just as a point of clarification, what is the law in New York State about public use of restaurants and of restrooms in restaurants? Can a restaurant legally keep you from using its restroom? Does anybody know? I've tried looking this up and I just got no answers.
I,
Growing up, I always heard above 8. If you see more than 8 people, I mean, that might just be a myth.
I think it's more, can they stop someone from coming in and saying, please, I'd like to use your restroom? It has nothing to do with how many. You know, if you knock on the door of a restaurant and say, I want to use your restroom, that's what you're referring to,
Yeah.
right? Yeah,
As opposed to you must buy something.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah, a lot of places have that sign up that says restaurants for customers only.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
So I don't know,
I do know that if you have less than a certain number of seatings in a restaurant,
you don't need.
they don't
yes,
even need a
but-
restroom, never mind.
Here, I got it for you. 20-seat rule.
Yes.
Whether a restaurant must have a customer restroom. Under state public
Yeah.
health law and NYC code, a food service establishment with a seating capacity of 20 or more must provide toilet facilities for its patrons. But you're talking about
Whether you could, anyone could.
anyone.
Yeah,
Including delivery space.
Does let certain people use the employee restroom even if it's not normally public. It's called Ali's Law. Allow anyone lawfully on the premises to use it during business hours, only if the person has an eligible medical condition.
I,
I don't know.
are you gonna determine all of that? That's so
Yes.
vague.
Yeah, so anyway, we obviously we need a little, I don't know, we don't know the answer to that, but, other things, we're having our next session of, onboarding new members. As I mentioned, we have 12. One we need to be replaced, hasn't been replaced yet, so we have 11 new members. And what we asked them to do was to select a resolution that they thought was very well written, and we're going to discuss it. So two people have submitted theirs already, I guess, so that's the first part of the meeting. And then the second part of the meeting, we were going to discuss parliamentary procedures. And any board member who would like to join is welcome. We'll send out an announcement about that. One of the things that we wanted to clarify was this idea of calling the question. Which is, yeah, so we'll discuss that and just any other things that, you know, parliamentary procedures that we have as a board. So we'll send out an official invite, but it's 2 weeks, in 2 weeks on the Wednesday.
If anyone of this 11 that has been on another community board,
There is one woman who's done a lot of work with CB8,
because I wonder if different practices.
totally different.
Yeah.
She's already shown like confusion. We're not much-
Yes.
So, that's,
And I'm sorry, which board was she on?
8.
She wasn't on the board.
She just worked with, she did quite a bit of work, and she may have, I'm not sure if she was a public member.
There was a project that I believe she was a representative for.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. So that's, and then, one of the other things that's come up is, potentially in the fall to have, some kind of a forum or a public, meeting about e-vehicles. And it doesn't necessarily have to be Priscilla's law, but, it's something that we thought should be discussed. Because there's been a lot of pushback.
Doing something different from what we were talking about last.
No, it's the same thing. So
Where's
the
pushback coming from?
community members,
Community members?
noting that there have been a lot of incidents with e-vehicles and members of our community. And they want to know if we have some idea for how to,
What's defined again as an e-vehicle? Is that a city bike too, or is that?
any vehicle that uses electricity instead of pedaling. So
So pedal assist as well.
pedal assist. And I think the concern is not necessarily so much. It's not like deliveristas, that's not the focus. It's more some of the faster vehicles that are on the streets now.
And sidewalks.
And the sidewalks, and using the bike lanes. For.
Yeah.
Like so there's a real range of speeds in the bike lanes now. And is there some proposal for how to deal with that or? And Priscilla's law is something that people have talked about. It doesn't have to be the solution, but we thought there should be some discussion. So we can ask our elected officials also to maybe help host something.
I will push back that we have passed a resolution on suggested safety measure improvements for e-vehicles. It's
just-
open to have open discussion again, but we do have a solution.
Well, the thing is, that was before, really, I think a lot of the other e-mobility devices were popular. So it's what, 2 years old?
Yeah. I think the recommendations stand, but it's worth it. Not saying we can't reduce it.
Yeah. And it could be a public safety, it doesn't necessarily have to be a trans. The Reza was a transportation.
Yes.
Also, Jason, there's been a lot of like infrastructure changes the last 2 years, which with boulevards and everything, and it's possible that some of the complaints are different than what the complaints would have been 2 years
Yeah,
ago.
that's
Like,
fair.
could be topics or different, like, it's a different set of complaints.
That's fair.
Okay, so that's just something that we probably need to plan a little bit. Do we want to do it in the committee? Do we want to do it more as a public meeting? Who do we invite? And some of these, town halls, it's not like we come up with a solution, we listen. Yeah. So that's, slightly different than trying to pass a resolution.
Mhm.
And I think getting the elections involved is, I think they hear a lot about it.
Yeah. So, and that's really who we want our community to be heard, so. All right, then the next, here is, I think cases, which I usually forget, so. Okay.
Yes, well, the only thing I have to report on is the impact to our office from the leaning tower of Pfizer.
Trademark that.
You're going to.
I haven't seen it anywhere else.
That's
I'd be very surprised if I was the first to say that.
First time here.
First time.
Okay.
Right,
It's
give you
mine.
credit.
Yeah.
During it.
We'll attribute it to you, Jesus.
Little C.
Yeah.
Or be resolved.
So we were one of the buildings initially affected. On that Tuesday, we were getting ready for a meeting, Sandy and I, our weekly standing meeting. And we were asked to evacuate, so we had to meet each other on the street and find somewhere else to meet. But very soon after, within a couple of days, we were allowed to access the building again. The issue is that 43rd Street remains closed. We had a briefing with DOB on Friday afternoon. They are not yet willing to give us specificity about how long 43rd Street might remain closed. So we should assume, actually, we shouldn't assume anything, but we're going to be speaking to them to make sure that as soon as 43rd Street can be open, it will be open. The reason it really matters is because our district office is on 43rd Street, and right now we have to access it through the service entrance on 44th Street. That can sometimes present an impediment for people who are just coming to meetings here. Hopefully, it will be resolved by the time Vault happens. If not, people will have to come in through 44th. At least it is ADA accessible, so that's not an issue. But it's not something that people are used to, and so we're hoping it'll be fixed. DOB during our briefing on Friday afternoon, they weren't ready to say definitively.
Is it closed to pedestrian traffic?
It's closed to pedestrian
So
traffic.
it must be killing the restaurants in this building.
The restaurant in this building has to
I noticed that.
I did see people going into the service center.
I saw the
For what it's worth.
restaurants using the same service centers
Yeah.
we use.
So, yeah, I can.
So they
But I mean,
go,
there's a hotel too on 43rd, right?
Yes.
Very well.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, and there's a school and there's
Yeah,
there's a mission and the Indian mission is there, so
Yeah.
there's, it's disrupted. But as far as our office is concerned, we were allowed access, so we'll see, but we'll be monitoring that. We'll be monitoring whatever DOB sends us. We've been in touch with DOB with emergency management. And so we will see. Hopefully there won't be any more disruption beyond this meeting, but you guys have to be flexible, read your emails. as far as coming to your meetings, so thankfully it happened during the summer and they're not.
Yeah.
Tanya has her hand raised.
Yes.
Hey,
ma'am.
Jesus, hi, when you met with them on Friday, did they mention anything if the building is anything of structural, or they were just telling you whether you could use the street or not? I'm only
They-
asking you this because I live in Tudor City and we were part of the frozen zone. and
Yes,
it was-
they mentioned quite a few things, they're working every day and night to stabilize the building, so, you know, they are trying to assure us that no real danger exists there. But, you know, a lot of what the details they were giving, I'm a little bit out of my depth as a structural engineer, so.
Okay,
Just, is it gonna fall over? No, that's really all we care about. And 43rd Street. Apparently, the thing that they're looking to do before they can open 43rd Street is install a sort of protective netting on the building. And once they're finished with that, I don't know if it's like the whole building or just one piece of it, but once they're finished with that, then they'll be more comfortable with building 43rd Street.
I think the section that is weakening is the one that was added onto, there was a gap in the building originally. It's just a column part that
But-
was added.
If you have specific Tudor City related questions, send them to me and I can pass them along to the Department of Buildings and see if they have some answers for us.
Thanks.
So, that concludes my report.
Okay, so next, the discussion of the role of Manhattan Community Board 6 in reviewing community impact plans for cannabis licenses. And Anne is going to kind of walk us through, hopefully everybody got a chance to look at what was sent out.
Mm-hmm.
So, this is something, as Anton can testify, there's so much to learn about the cannabis licensing process, and I think none of us know everything, including OCM, the Office of Cannabis Management, which is more than a little distressing. But one of the things that has come up recently is that, for applicants that are, applying for a renewal of their license, they are required to submit a community impact plan, which is basically they're saying, this is how we're gonna help the community in which that we are part of. And here are the specific goals we're gonna do. We have, this is the population we're gonna serve, this is how we're gonna measure it. None of that is happening really, but when I saw this, and I've been in conversations with people from other community boards throughout the city. And it made me aware both of things that, how this is an opportunity for us, but also a way in which, we are lacking. And that is that the opportunity is, here are companies that are required to do something for our community. And so we have an opportunity to make sure that what they do are things that we feel will really serve the community. And that's why I mean, I included a list of, many things. A few others I thought of after that is, kind of based on we have elected officials that do like legal clinics, that's the kind of thing that they could sponsor. That don't support for neighborhood associations. And other things just that our elected officials may want, it's an opportunity to work with them. One of the reasons that this is kind of problematic for us is there is no way for a well-meaning applicant to look at our website and say, what does this community board need? Where are the facilities and the organizations where I can make an investment and help them out? And that's the challenge for us. So the opportunity is there's, potential money. It's not a ton of money. This is not gonna do anything kind of capital expenses. But it is an opportunity for us to connect. And it's also an opportunity, I think, to show our community members that cannabis dispensaries are not all bad. So like that's a positive too. And in fact, going back to the idea that this is something kind of we should do more of, I notice it's really hard to even find our district's needs statement. And that's one of the places OCM points applicants is go to the district needs statements and see what this community board wants. And somebody from Brooklyn Community Board 2 said that community boards are actually required to maintain a resource website. We have nothing like that. Now, far be it for me to add stuff to the board office, because I know you guys are already overwhelmed, but I do feel like this is something that's really worthwhile. So I kind of, I guess I'm here because I'd like for you guys all to think about for your own committees, what are things that we would like to have done that are not, $6 million or $50 million projects that come from this city.
And do you know the price range of what they're?
No, and it's not, they don't have specifics. And in fact, I mean, the CIPs that we have gotten are so vague and we have gotten them very last minute, but it's kind of a new process. So I think if we can get ahead of it and say, but I mean, you can look at the kinds of things. So it's like Narcan handouts, it's, clothing drives. It's not a ton of money, but I think it can have, there's a good ROI on it. Like, I think they can put in a little effort and get a pretty good return.
They only have to do this when they reapply?
Yes.
So
and
not when the initial application?
Correct. And it was originally supposed to be like that, but again, it's another example of OCM not kind of really being there, but again, we really, I think that we've been sort of pushing to say, yeah, why isn't this for all applicants? And the reason it wasn't is not because of any legal thing, it's because OCM was ready to do it.
How long do they get the license for initially?
2 years.
And so Jared,
Yeah, so I want to also affirm that many of these are in the newsletter. It might be a question of just kind of cut and pasting some things. I
Absolutely.
love the list. My recommendation would be, even though it's more work, make it site specific.
Well, okay, so I don't disagree with you, and Sandy pushed me on that a little bit. And what I wanted to do was trigger discussion, so I sort of purposely kept it vague. Because I don't wanna put in the brains of all the smarter people here what the specifics are. I think that's kind of, you know your needs best.
And then the other small point I would make is two things that overlap. This budget, because of the deficit, even though there's money from the state, caused a great deal of shortfalls in many nonprofits.
Yeah.
My nonprofit, we usually get 100,000 from city council, we got half that. So we're dealing with that, and I can imagine that even surveying needs of community between 2025 and 2026, we could discover some shortfalls. To that end, Beta NYC just released a new product that you can search within the last 3 years of the final city budget, and it's extremely microscopic. So you can search by topic, you can search by legislation and so forth, and we've begun looking at it. So I feel like that's a cheat,
Yeah.
confirm your suspicions.
Because I think that's right. I mean, I think we do already have a lot of this information about we know what our neighborhood associations are, but we don't. We know that, and it's just kind of in our head, but there's nowhere on our website or we have no kind of resource list.
And the last quick thing I would say is I would almost rank this from urgent, food pantry, that sort of thing, to like stuff that's a little broader, like, bake sale. Because we know that, I was just writing about it today, that people are using food pantries not on an emergency basis, but on a regular basis.
And I think the way those rankings of that happen, can also, in the same way that we determine our specific district needs and the ranking on that. I think that's, it's that, you know, it's kind of that sort, but I think the first step is kind of getting them out there, right?
Right, because it's really up to the shop, the licensee to determine how they want to have it.
But we want to make it easy for them to
To
do the
find
things we
what-
want them to do.
Right.
And this,
I highly recommend trees. We've had to talk about this, like you could plant a tree in front of your cannabis shop. Think how, you know,
Today,
it's a great, yeah,
Or even trash cans,
yeah.
Yes.
Trash bins
absolutely.
around.
Buy a trash can, buy.
And it could be ongoing support as well.
long.
So, and I mean, those obviously are not as impactful as food.
Well, some of them can because they take off some pressure, like
From
when,
other- yeah.
well, like last year when Boris or other people gave funds to different groups for trash cans, let's say. That's a little bit like if they're not, they can put that money somewhere else.
Yeah, true.
So,
So what, oh, and Tanya, you have your hand up. Go ahead.
Yeah, hi, and is this something that is a requirement in order to be granted a renewal, or is this a program that's sort of voluntary, like this is what we want to do, but they won't be held to
It is
it?
theoretically a requirement.
It is a requirement, and is there a follow-up to make sure that they're doing something, or is this just?
I think the follow-up is on our part. I mean, it is so far, again, CIP only just started implementing this. This was supposed to, the first, I would say, 3 or 4 renewals we had. We were completely unaware of this even as a concept. And that's not on us. That's really the CM, and their dispensaries are not required to submit it. I believe the board office is now requesting it when applicants, when there is a renewal application, as they do, routinely sending out questionnaires for liquor licenses and stuff. I think they are now requesting the CIP.
And Steve, you have your hand up? Please go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Sandy. So I would suggest just maybe perhaps expanding the way that we approach it. So rather than, I like some of the ideas that folks threw out here about suggestions, those sound like good suggestions, but rather than having all of the suggestions come from us, they should come from the community. So we could be just like a clearinghouse. There's a spot where whatever small little organization, neighborhood group, or whatever can just put up, here's what we need, and we can just put it on the website somewhere. And that we're just kind of like a matchmaker, a clearinghouse, rather than having to generate all of the ideas ourselves and then not knowing, is that really meeting the needs of that particular block that cannabis store sits on.
Yeah, and one of the things actually that came up again in this conversation that somebody from another community board said is they're encouraged the dispensaries to ask their customers, what are the things that you're looking for? And again, it's a more way of embedding them in the community, and
And in a way, this is really like bulk Bassa. When they come for the renewal, that's when this discussion should happen. You should be able to say, here's the list from our, it's either
before that, they should, before they come to us, they should have a way to find those things.
But so how far in advance do we know that they're going to be asking for a renewal?
30 days.
40 days?
Well,
we get an application, and then we have 60 days.
yeah, 60 days, but we might get it with much shorter notice.
So that would be, once we get the application, we can then, tell them, what are you doing? Here's our list, here's.
Well, I'd love to be more proactive than that and have it be so that as they are doing their application, they have someplace they can go and say, here are the things that, and whether it's community members have put it up, or community groups, or, we have a resource list of organizations that operate in our district that need help.
I think the issue is now, these renewals are being required to move these CIPs. I think the first time around, though, we should take a look very closely at what is being proposed and perhaps help them aim at more practical things and put in a couple of key KPIs there so that 2 years from now, when their renewal comes up, because we're not gonna follow this, what they're doing on a week-to-week basis. Well, 2 years ago, you came before us and you said you're gonna do ABC.
Right.
And tell us whether you've done that or not, or if you have, when did you finish it? And
So this is something that should happen when they come with their initial,
Correct.
and before they're doing a renewal, but when they come for their initial license, this is when the process starts.
Well, I mean, legally it doesn't for them, but I mean, I think that's a good idea, but what should certainly happen is that when they come to us with the renewal, the CIP should be quite substantial in
Yes.
terms of answering, you know, the
Yeah.
questions that I have on that first page.
Yeah.
I mean, those are OCM questions,
Yeah.
those are not mine.
So what are our next steps for this thing? What's? We
look at the see,
so we need to
CIPs.
find community groups that potentially could use economic support and list them on our website.
So we have, when you said that there's a requirement of a community board, I listened to that with great interest because I was not aware of that.
No, nor me.
The only thing I'm aware of in the charter is that the board is supposed to have a list of neighborhood groups.
yeah,
We took that, we do have that. It's not on our website, but we have it available on request. We took that to mean things like, neighborhood groups or parks, friends of groups, things like that. In anticipation of this conversation, we're looking at perhaps expanding it to other kinds of groups, but, so we have something to start with, but it's mostly right now neighborhood groups, block associations and arts groups, which I think is for our district, perfectly representative of what we have.
Yeah,
We can see about expanding it further. So that's one next step. I think it seems like another next step should really be confirming with OCM whether they have notified each of the dispensaries in our district that this is a requirement. Because if we wait to confirm with them, when we actually get their renewal, those 60 days go by very fast, and oftentimes, because of the way our meetings are scheduled, we don't make use of the whole 60 days. So it seems like we should hear from them now about whether these establishments have been notified, because if they have, then there'll be no excuse for them
Yeah.
to say, I didn't know.
I think the last kind of time I heard about this, they said that they were informing applicants that they needed to provide this. But, you know, that was,
Trust but verify.
Right. yes, no.
Yes.
But I think
Yes.
we also were hearing from the applicants.
It's not often I quote rating, but
Yeah.
But I think we are hearing more from applicants that it's kind of getting on their radar as well. The other thing I just wanted to clarify is we're talking about this in terms of budget things, but donations could be labor as well. So it fleets.
Cannabis for.
Well, I was gonna say, I was avoiding the word in kind. But I mean, I think we should, again, I just think it's really worthwhile being creative about the things. I mean, who knows? Maybe they have a lawyer on staff and are, you know, willing to provide legal advice to or small businesses or individuals. So I think it's worth it, just putting ideas out there and thinking about it.
Jared?
Has there been discussion and across community boards about of all of these ideas mandating Narcan in the stores would seem to be a good goal.
Mandating what?
The Narcan,
Distribution or?
You mean just saying
Yeah.
like have them on hand?
yes,
I have
yes,
not
and if
heard
people
that.
knew that it was available, because that is.
No, there hasn't been.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that's the appropriate place.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's.
For a variety of reasons.
people aren't encouraged to like go, I mean, places like Staten Island where there's great amount of substance abuse, they have them public transportation and so forth, so just think.
Right.
So you say public access?
Yes,
Oh,
But yeah, maybe not cannabis shops as the,
yeah.
as the, Tanya.
Uh,
go ahead.
Yeah, I'd like to know how long has this requirement been in place? And if it has been in place for a substantial amount of time, that there is some record on how it's working?
I think theoretically it has been in place since the beginning.
Oh,
but it-
really?
Yeah, I mean, renewals are kind of relatively new. We started
Just started.
getting our first renewals, yeah, a few months ago. But again, I mean, unless you have worked with them, you cannot underestimate the level of disorganization at a super.
Oh, trust me,
So, yeah,
I know, I can underestimate it, yeah.
I'm not sure you can.
It's,
So,
uh,
I mean, it's like super frustrating when we report things that are blatantly illegal and there's just no. They don't, there's no follow-up. And I mean, in fairness, I think they are understaffed and overwhelmed. But they're also just, it's super frustrating that, and you don't get straight answers on things and they don't follow up. and-
We digress. We
Yes,
digress.
we digress. I tell you, that's the answer.
So, I mean, this is, we have this, I think we have to, if people have ideas, it's worth submitting them, but I think, I like the idea too of having a place where the community, maybe in one of the newsletters, we just announced that this is a program.
mhm,
And
Yeah,
we somehow
yeah,
get, ask for community input and then. And maybe it's just a list we keep if it's not on the website. The website is more for the groups and.
well, the advantage of making it public, I think there's two advantages. One is that the dispensaries have easy access to it. And the second is that the community knows that we're doing it. And I think that's a value as well. So it's not sort of going, if people make suggestions, you're not going into a black hole.
Well, we can add it maybe to the committee's portion of the website and, say, if you have comments, please submit them, or if you have requests.
So the next steps are to continue to flesh out the list of organizations in the district.
Yeah.
Secondly, to start to advertise this initiative. I would be grateful maybe if either the people the person who suggested it, or maybe Anne, who has knowledge of this, maybe put up draft a little blurb that we could use in the newsletter. And then we can start running it. My only concern is that, once we start going public with it, if I were just a random constituent, I would expect then, okay, this is up and running, we're gonna see something happen from this, we're gonna see results. If we're not quite sure that OCM is there yet, our dispensaries are there yet, maybe we wait.
Manage expectations.
Yeah, or wait.
I'm not sure we need to wait, but just maybe manage expectations that there's, potentially a program that might have funding available if you had appropriate requests, keep it. But, okay, great. Thank you. On to our next agenda item. The proposed ideas for fellows, and we have actually 4 different proposals, and the first one is from the Housing Committee, and unfortunately, they're neither the chair or the vice chair here. And they just, theirs was just to follow up, continue work on Housing and Homelessness Committee's housing study, which is a little vague, so it may not come together. Air quality. Rupal, do you want to give like a 10-second?
How relevant today.
Yeah, clearly, right? No, so basically my proposal is to just kind of look at what can we advocate for, whether it's with electeds or organizations, groups, nonprofits in the community, whatever it is? How can we get our air quality to be better? And it's a wide open thing. Look at what other cities, not just across the country, but even internationally have done to improve their air quality. And it can range anywhere from continuing congestion pricing or potentially looking down the line of how we increase it to maintain as inflation rises and prices rising to keep up with it. So, like $1, what it was worth in 1920s isn't what it is today, right? So if we keep it at $9, 10 years from now, that's gonna mean nothing, right? So how do we manage that? Along with what else can we do? Planting more trees, what else can we do? When I was in Chicago, and these are just my personal ideas, I'm not gonna say the fellow look at it, but I'm just saying like, whatever they can look at, dig more, do more research. Look at what else has worked, right? Like when I went to Chicago last summer, I saw, like, we went to Sears Tower and there were so many rooftops where there was a rooftop garden. And that really helped bring down the heat index in the city. So I'm like, that was a great initiative, and it took them a while to get to it, but now that they're there, they're actually seeing the results, right? So that's an example. What else have other countries and cities across the globe have done? And of those, what would fit best for us here, right? Just because it worked in London doesn't necessarily mean it'll work here. What if just because it worked in Singapore doesn't necessarily mean it'll work here? So kind of put that together and just say what might be a good possibility, not just one, but multiple possibilities. We can take multiple approaches that we can approach, whether again, it's electeds, nonprofits, just community, whatever it is, like idea.
And Rupal, you're going to be the one who they work.
Yeah.
Okay.
And quick question about that. So can I have like me, but if I'm busy, like one other person can kind of jump in?
And with these, like, they come and do a presentation to the committee, and at the beginning, and typically they ask for who they should speak to. So you have to be kind of a liaison for any other,
Okay.
For NYU or for Bellevue or for our methods. And then they'll do a presentation at the end as well.
Oh, so this is all data driven.
Yes.
So they have, okay, so it's like maybe looking at, we have these new rooftop things in Chicago, and how is that impacting? What's the-
Exactly,
okay.
right. Like, look at
How
what,
do you-
look at what they did. How did it change it? What was the impact? And can it be feasible for us
replicate it?
here? Does it work for us here? What did London do? Okay, London was one of the first cities to implement congestion pricing. As it has gone, how did they increase the prices? Or what other changes did they make to their congestion pricing? Because when I was in London last year, again, when I was, I had 2 suitcases and I had to take an Uber because I just couldn't get on the subway or the bus with like a couple of suitcases by myself. And I saw an option when I opened my Uber app that there was a different things. Like if I chose a car that was energy efficient, it was lower.
Yeah.
In that, because I was in the congestion zone. But if I chose a regular car, it gave me a higher price, right? So like they added that, I realized that when I was there, I'm like, oh, this is interesting, right? So they've obviously made changes.
Sure.
So look at that data. Has it worked? How has it worked? What,
And so just, it is sort of competitive, and there are only so many fellows, so we wanna be encouraging them, make it seem like this is a great study. And so just snippets of things that, recommendations of what they can do, we can add in. It is sort of restricted in terms of word as well. Maya, you have your hand up?
Yes, I had a question for the study in particular. Like, could we also ask the fellow to look into how other cities have marketed this stuff to their constituents? Because that was a big issue for me when NYC did congestion pricing. I feel like the environmental impact was really low in what they were pushing. They're like, oh, the MTA is going to get all this money. It's going to reduce traffic. And I think the environmental element is really important. So like how other cities have implemented that when they're, charging more to get your Uber from a regular car, and like people have to deal with that.
Great, okay. Next one is rapid transit study. And Barack submitted this one and he's not here. Please.
So yeah, the idea is taking a look at the M15, First and Second Avenues, and see what further enhancements can be done to make buses faster. Things like separated physical separation of of the buses lane, is typical of a BRT system, so feasibility and, discovery design for that.
I also just heard that they're talking about, implementing, rear door boarding by the end of the year.
Like in the back, like,
That's citywide, but we already have that on
Citywide,
the
yeah.
M15.
Yeah,
Well,
Yeah, we have that.
Only on the SBS, not on the.
That's
this is
true.
for all of us.
but,
Well, what if the SBS does have rear door
No, but I'm saying for the locals.
for the
They're talking about
locals, yeah.
implementing it for local buses.
okay, and that's, I recommended that Barack reach out because if this is more, it's CB8, CB3 and CB6, so. Just to add that into the blurb that, you know, it'll be working across.
Yeah, but we had some interest already from 8 that were aligned to
Great.
involve science.
Okay, 3's a little more difficult to content.
I haven't talked to Barack about 3, I'm not sure if we have any lined up.
Well, you can always put it in the blurb that it's, you know, just make sure that they know it's in the blurb that it's not just CB6, it's
Yeah,
kind of,
okay.
it's the whole route. Storefront vacancies, John put this one together.
Do you have that? Jesus, I'll be real quick. I'm not sure where this originated, but someone said, well, should we look at filling time, storefront vacancies through bulk? And so I looked at it briefly, I'll be really. Oh, Gabby, so the ideas would be a project to identify and describe the causes of high levels of storefront vacancies in our district. And there are different perspectives on how bad the problem is, depending on who's writing the reports. And identify and quantify the impact of them on our district and get all the parties together to build a 3-year plan. That would be the mission. The issue for us is that CB6 is reported to have the second highest level of storefront vacancies in Manhattan. And it's supposed to have had the second highest rate of growth among all Manhattan community districts over the last 5 years. So why don't we just look at that data for a half a second?
Growth of population, is that, or by growth, I mean population growth?
No, it's vacancies,
Oh, the highest
second
rate of
page.
growth of vacancies.
It was-
Oh, okay.
Can that scoot up a little? Yeah, there's actually some data available, which I think it's reasonably accurate, and you can see that District 6 had the second highest rate of increase since 2019, if you believe the data, and this is from the controller, would confirm most of this. And it's grown faster than virtually any other district. So you know, it seems like it's an issue in the district. There are different views on it depending on whom you talk to. The controller would basically endorse this approach, this type of view. Business groups and advocate, bids and certainly real estate interests would say, oh, no, it's not this bad. So one of the first things you have to do is figure out how bad the problem actually is. And you'll see on the final page, I have a bunch of sources for all this. So the idea would be to have a planning fellow with like a few simple deliverables, not simple, analyze the diverging data perspectives on the issue, take a view, identify the drivers of higher vacancy. Is it rents that are going up? What's driving it?
Just to interrupt. I
It's
think
tax
we get all the data
incentives,
Pardon?
tax incentives.
Sorry, Tanya, Anton has.
we can get all the data we want. Question, you gotta drill down into why.
Right,
Why is
We
that?
know we know the result. But there could be 2 or 3
That's right.
drivers of this. Could be high rents being charged or landlords want more rent. That's the basic way. You can't solve the issue if you don't know what the problem is.
That's it. That's the whole point. And
That's what-
Tanya just raised one that it could be, there are tax incentives that
Right.
are adverse. to
Yeah.
high risk.
First.
Adverse. Yes.
And the other thing is, I mean, one vacancy is not the same as another. There are vacancies where a storefront is actually empty, but to the landlord, that's not empty because that tenant is still paying rent.
Well, that, right.
But to anybody walking by, it's an empty storefront. The other thing I just wanted to mention is, I think it's CB two has done a lot, and CB8 as well,
That'd be great.
have done a lot on doing some of this analysis and also looking at some of what can be done to preempt closure as well as reopening things.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds to me like this is a vital issue. If we had someone on the committee who would want to run with it. you know.
And one thing to keep in mind, like we have to attract the planning fellow. So, data, scraping data is not that interesting. Again, it's like, it's the cause or what we do about it or
Yeah.
how do we
Yeah,
advocate?
can you go to the final, I've got a final page, yes, I'm sorry. Yeah, so there would be a set of deliverables. First of all, figure out what the data is, and then what are the underlying drivers of higher vacancy rates? And then engage with us, bids, other groups, city agencies, to build a consensus on what the impact is in neighborhoods. What is the impact of an empty storefront? But so you have foot traffic that goes down, you have, the sidewalk isn't taken care of, at least when I see them, so what are the tangible things? But what can you do to address it? Is there anything practical you can do to address it? Is there anything the city council could do or whatever? And can we put together a plan to lower vacancy rates? So I just made this up out of thin air over a 3-year period and develop a process.
And I might say that we could develop a reso, because that's what we're supposed to
Okay, well,
do.
that's fine.
And maybe it's like work with the board to develop plans. Sorry, Tanya, you have your hand up?
Yeah, actually, this is a project that is dear to my heart because I've always been lobbying for small business to get some support. And I
Do you
know
want a community liaison for it then, Tanya? We're looking for someone to do
We need
that.
a volunteer.
Yeah, actually, I would, because there's many factors that affect this, not the least of which is the tax incentives to landlords who have empty spaces. And that is absolutely incredible to believe that they are better off having it empty than rented. The other thing is, we were hit by COVID. This
Tanya,
is.
we don't need to solve it tonight.
No, I'm not saying, but I just want to give an anecdote of, I
Oh,
met.
We want us to put together something that the planning fellow is gonna really wanna do this.
All right,
And
so
that's-
I'll jump in with you
Yeah.
guys on it.
Okay, so, I mean,
And
We
I'm
can-
happy to help work on that too as well.
Right.
just remember, we have a deadline.
What is the deadline of the next day?
August 3rd. And I think we have the examples and, you might want to keep in mind, like, I think they ask for what skills the planning fellow needs to have.
What's the August 3rd deadline? Is that for the formation of what the deliverable will be?
So I
You
can
know,
go,
to submit our application for a fellow.
Oh, okay, so not the actual result.
No. And so,
You're busy.
Yeah.
So why don't, practically speaking then, why don't Tanya and Ann and I plan to get together offline on Zoom or something,
That sounds good.
yeah,
and I'll send out just a couple times. And anybody's invited to attend, and Tom, of course.
and I mean, we've had architects, we've had planners, we've had, what was it, the housing? One who did the housing study last year, what was her major? She wasn't, anyway, it's
international affairs.
international, yeah.
Yeah.
So those are the type of people who might be interested in doing this, and, if you want to attract an architect, you're gonna have to change.
I let you,
So,
free, I don't know.
So just a few points, we'll send this document around again, but these things that are indicated here are exactly what you need to speak to in
Yeah.
your proposal. You need to pick one of these selections, you need to address every one of these points. Because all the office is gonna do is we have to apply for you. All we're gonna do is take your stuff.
Could you give us an example of a successful application? You're gonna do that? To me, which one was it? Were there the three of them?
The documents you
said?
sent with the examples, they actually had the results that the fellows like did, like their end result. Can you send an actual application that was submitted that's because that when I was looking through that, I didn't see that. You know what I mean?
I can dig one up. I would say though that
That's fine.
all they really want from you is
Is
to be
those- okay.
clear. They just want you to be clear. And I don't necessarily want to like say it has to be done this exact way.
Got it.
Because it can be done in other ways. It just needs to be clear.
But I think
So
Sandy's
as long as we
for
write up something that
that.
answers every single one of those questions,
Yeah.
that is sufficient.
Yes, that is
Okay.
sufficient. And they don't want you to go like pages and pages and pages.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It should be brief.
It's gotta be
Okay,
brief.
got it. Thank
All right, so
you.
you'll be sending that out, Jesus?
Yes,
To all of us?
I've already
Okay.
sent it. Look at your exact email from last month, but I'll send it again because I'm sure
Okay.
it's buried. And I'll send it to Ann as well. Now, typically, they only accept 2 projects. I've spoken to them. They're willing to accept up to 4 from us. So we gotta really make these good. And if we're not serious, then let's not bother with the other extra projects because they're making an exception, taking extra projects from us.
And it is sort of time consuming on whoever does this, it's, you know, it's an extra work and, you know, to be successful, you want to introduce them to community members, to elected officials. You know, it's a way for them to actually get involved.
You know, once we get assigned to one of these, they get assigned to us, they're with us for like 6 months, so we can't just abandon them at that point. They're stuck with us and they need to do a project for their own, they get a stipend, so they
Yeah.
need to see this through.
And they need to do it.
Where do we get the fellows from?
The fund for the city of New York organizes the program, and they are the ones that find them and give them these projects to choose from, and then they assign them to respective groups, they're the boards.
Okay.
Are these typically college students?
They're second year master students.
Second year.
So I think we're probably only gonna have 3. Because the housing study, it's fine. So, but that's, okay, any old or new business?
So it's the ad that I spoke about that, so Gabe. Came to me with, I guess with Keith, and he had this idea that, during the summer, there's all this storm drain gets kind of like clogged up. So he said, why don't we create an ad? So this is what I created. It can be, when we can work, kind of workshop it, but the idea is that like add trash getting stuck in the gutter and just keeping litter out of the storm drain. And just something for like a month over summer. That was, Gabe kind of suggested it and they liked it, but I wanted to see what everybody else thought.
I have a small note. Are people smoking cigarettes anymore or just using vapes?
Oh, no, they do.
No, they do, yeah.
And they only throw butts.
Yeah, actually, there's a
Okay.
recent study that shows smoking has been increasing.
Really?
Yes.
Was that cigarettes or tobacco use?
Cigarettes.
Oh, interesting. That is interesting.
So would this be, like we put CB6 so?
Yeah, so it would look like this and then the actual like, it's a certain length, so I was gonna add at the last ad, it said something like, like your community and your move and a little CB6 thing at the bottom, so that would just be underneath it, but.
And we have,
Pretty good.
All those things at the bottom.
I do think we should have a trash can.
Okay.
Yeah, I think, yeah.
Like I see its background left, but I would have more proximity.
Maybe like a trash for
Like
somebody
moving a
to throw.
little closer or like more up front,
Okay.
the trash can.
That's my only.
Do you think it's a problem to have the person in the back and the trash in the front, or should the person be throwing it
The
out?
person should be throwing it.
Yeah,
Yeah, model the behavior.
yeah.
and actually, the car is on
Wrong side of the road?
pavement, or like it's on the sidewalk, or?
Unclear.
Yeah, the car is.
But I can just
We
remove
could just
it.
remove the car, I think.
Yeah,
Just get rid of the car.
That's what they call AI swap.
Yeah.
I'd actually show more water, get rid of the car.
Okay,
Yeah, and
Slide.
because if it's the curb, it's.
okay, yeah, sure, but it's more if you guys like the idea in general, kind of on track.
That's explain what those things are next to the cup.
Those are leaves.
Oh, leaves.
Yeah.
Blue?
No, I don't know what the third one on the left is, it's like a.
Gum monster.
A plastic bag.
Like
Yes, that's a plastic bag.
I don't want, you want people to think there's alligators in the
Make it
trail.
a round.
But I was,
Muted life form that
It's a rat.
consumes.
yeah. I was thinking once we can just, in the next week or so, get it out that way, cause I know we've been doing the monthly meetings and
Right.
there'll be one in September, so if we can run it, by, let's say, July 20th or so, then it'll be the month, and then we'll move back into our
Right,
typical.
yeah.
Okay.
Sounds
Okay.
good.
I'll send one more email out just confirming with everybody, but
I mean, we're all critics, so don't,
Okay.
don't take it.
I'll send one to, no, that's fine.
Are we limited to one campaign at a time?
Yes.
Yeah, we only have
So-
one at one. But if you think of something, just,
Just brainstorm.
you have the contact, I'll give you the info, so.
Interesting.
Yeah, no, like when we don't have meetings.
Yeah.
Okay, any other open new business? Okay, if there are no objections, we will adjourn the meeting. Seeing no further business, the meeting is adjourned at 7:32. Thank you.